Looks pretty serious, looks like she means business.
Three-day eventing is the ultimate test for horse and rider.
Lovely.
And the 4 stars symbolise the pinnacle of the sport, where trust and bravery are rewarded.
Being a 4-star is the highest level you can get to.
Confidently ridden.
Just to be here, let alone to do well here, is just amazing.
The FEI Classic Series moves to Adelaide for the next round in the Global Series.
The crowd's always amazing here. It's such a great feeling.
It's a venue where there's nowhere to hide.
You can't think about the crowd, you can't think about the prize money.
Where some will just hope to finish. Where the skillful can thrive.
It's a pretty amazing feeling.
Pops that like it wasn't even there.
And what a triathlete he is.
This is a 4-day festival of equestrianism.
He's going to go under time. An amazing round.
To conquer this challenge is the biggest prize in the Southern Hemisphere.
It's the highlight of the year.
This is the Australian International 3-day event. Hello and a very warm welcome. 3-day eventing, often described as an equine triathlon, is the ultimate test between horse and rider. Combining the 3 phases of the dressage, the cross-country and the nail-biting final phase, the show jumping. In the shadows of the Adelaide Hills lies the only 4-star in the Southern Hemisphere, and the vibrant city plays its part as the backdrop of this stunning event. The FEI Classic Series brings together the toughest and most prestigious 4-star events in the world, and Australia's international 3-day event here in Adelaide forms the second leg of this 6-part series.
Well, the Australian 3-day event is the pinnacle of our sport, and for Australia, being a 4-star, it's the highest level you can get to.
Accepted.
We're very lucky to have it here, and it's iconic because it's in the middle of the city, so just to be here, let alone to do well here, is just amazing.
I come here with confidence.
Accepted.
The horse I'm riding is fairly inexperienced. He's his first time at this level. He's a really good trier, and if I can do a good dressage test on him, I think if I do a good job cross country, then he can be competitive. I'm certainly here to give it a crack, and he's a really kind and willing horse. So if I can steer him around as best as I can, I think he'll be competitive.
Accepted.
Yeah, it's sort of all year we look to come into Adelaide, I think. And for each horse, it's an individual thing. The horse I'm riding here hasn't done a 4-star before, so he needs to come here and hopefully work his way up the ranks and learn and get educated, and that's what he's here to do.
You do spend so many hours trying to prepare for this. Like, I've done this 1 year before, earlier last year, so I have a bit of an idea what to expect now, but you never really know what's going to come in the cross country. But it's such a well-built course here, so it's really nice to ride.
Day 1 started with the Pride's Easy Feed Dressage Day, and I'm thrilled to be joined by former international and Olympic gold medalist Gillian Rolton. Jill, welcome.
Thanks, Spencer. And here we have Rowan Luxmore. Now, Rowan is a vet, and he's not a professional rider by any means. He's a professional vet, but he does a really good job in the dressage. This horse has quite good movement, and he shows quite a lot of scope as he starts to lengthen stride here across the arena.
Yeah, full-time vet, Rowan, and his wife is dressage rider Kate, and also 2 children. Very busy here with Isabel and Harry, but a good score for Rowan in the dressage left him in 3rd place. Hazel Shannon is the next we see. Clifford, the 11-year-old Irish horse.
Yeah, she fluffed a change there. She's a great little rider from originally Far North Queensland, and another nice change there. And this is a very workmanlike horse. He doesn't have the flamboyance that we'd love to see, but she can get the marks if she can be accurate and ride it forward and balanced.
Yeah, great test from Hazel Shannon with a score of 52.1. Will Enzinger, 2 horses in the 4-star. This at Wenlock Aquifer.
Yeah, very busy man, this guy. He's the head of eventing in Australia. He teaches in Japan and all over Australia. He's got horses. He's got a lot of horses competing. And it's great to see him up here in 4-star level. A lovely change there. This is a very nice moving thoroughbred horse.
Yeah, a really super test that he pulled out of the bag. Wife Emily Anker riding in the CIC 3-star, the inaugural running of the 3-star. But it was Will Enzinger. What a great way to start the competition. After phase one, it's Will Enzinger, Wenlock Aquifer 51.8. Very close at the top with Hazel Shannon in second, Clifford and Rowan Luxmore, bells and whistles in third on 53.2. Saturday started bright and breezy. It's Qantas Cross Country Day and the crowds were building in the Parklands here in Adelaide. Will Enzinger with Wenlock Aquifer first to go on that dressage of 51.8. Leaving the bait start box, he sets out on his cross-country campaign. Well, let's go and have a look at the cross-country course in more detail. Mike Etherington-Smith, the cross-country course designer, once again here for the 4-star, has set a real test out there. And Jill, he's done a really good job. The distance of 6,508 metres and an optimum time of 11:25.
Yeah, there's some great combinations here. Early in the course, 7A, B coming up to the Toyotas. He'll be jumping, coming up the rise over the fence between the Toyotas and this very narrow-faced apex fence. Tough fence, but a good fence early in the track.
Real test of accuracy as they wind their way through the Parklands. The next fence we see is the Horsland Hollows at 13, 14A and 14B. Real test of accuracy, and you've got to be punchy through here.
And definitely that ditch is going to have an effect.
Well, absolutely. As they cross over Bartels Road for the first time, they're approaching the 6-minute marker and up to the Rose Garden fence. So this is a real test of accuracy.
It's a very big wide fence, and then they have to turn balance to two very narrow apexes on 2 strides.
There is a longer route should the horse and riders need it, but back towards Victoria Park they cross over Bartels Road and now come to the Pride's Easy Feed Gully at fence 25.
This is a really tough fence visually. It's quite a tall vertical, down a slope, through a gully, and then they have to turn left on a balanced stride again to jump another very narrow fence. Very much an accuracy test.
Very much so, and a real chance on a tiring horse to have a run out there. That distance once again 6,508 metres and the optimum time 11 minutes and 25.
And here comes Aquifer down into the hollows, through and over the ditch, and beautifully done through that. Picture perfect.
Absolutely, held a fantastic straight line, and now down to the ditch and hedge, slightly reminiscent of the Cottesmore Leap at Burley. No problems.
And now he turns for this very, very big fence. Huge, wide fence turning onto this double of corners. The 2 strides easily. This horse is going very, very well. He's got a great partnership with this horse now. He's really struck a great partnership. He did the 4-star last year, but now he's really proving that they're coming of age.
A lovely jump at the Channel 7 logo apex down to the water for the final time. It's Thomas Foods International Water over the boathouse and up to the duck.
And the horse has just got his ears pricked. He really knows where he's going, and he's just saying, come on, I can do this.
Well, very nearly home. It's the final fence, fence 31, the South Australian Tourism fence. 11 minutes 25, the optimum time, just over that optimum time, and he incurs 3.2 time penalties, punches the air, and the Trailblazer is home.
Oh, ecstatic. He felt still full of running and still ready to go. And so I'm just grateful that I've obviously done enough in the prep for him to have handled that really comfortably and still be feeling good at the end.
Andy Daines for New Zealand with his own Leanne and David Jensen's Spring Panorama, 12-year-old by Porter Rhodes.
Yeah, he just jumped the ditch awkwardly, and it really took his eye then off that skinny fence afterwards. So very smartly, he's just turned on to the option and gone on from there. But you can see he jumped awkwardly over the ditch, took his eye off the fence completely and had no chance.
No chance at all. Down to the FEI Water Complex, 17A and B, going at the direct route. Oh, and again, Well, he's just not locking onto those narrow fences. What a shame. Well, recently Andy returned to New Zealand after spending a good few months in Great Britain and Ireland. Some good preparation runs, but their performance just not happening today. This year, German Olympic gold medal coach and former four-star international rider Christopher Bartel offered his wealth of experience to walk both the cross-country and the show jumping courses.
Rider can keep the eye on the line to the corner.
All ages came along to listen, learn and gain an inside knowledge and insight into the challenging courses that lie ahead. Join us after the break, where the four-star cross-country continues.
We've been so excited to come to South Australia. We've heard the best things about it, and we've been out to Kangaroo Island, and just the most incredible wildlife is second to none. Beautiful beaches, beautiful people, a really vibrant, amazing city to be in. I feel like I'm on holiday and I'm actually working. So my name's Alicia Burton and I'm a world famous free rider. Brought the horse over from New Zealand. I absolutely love performing in front of crowds. It gives me a huge thrill and a big buzz, and the horse loves it. And we're jumping extreme jumps with no gear. I can't think of anything more exhilarating than that.
Back with cross-country action, it is Andrew Cooper with Rebecca Zammel's Evergem Perfection, lying 7th after dressage.
Yes, he's certainly not renowned as a dressage horse, but he can jump this horse, and he did the four-star last year, had a couple of silly run-outs that Andrew really kicked himself for, but gee, I tell you what, he's making sure the horse is really operating today.
Determined riding, you can just see the look of steely determination on his face, and at the moment, really answering all the questions. He's saying, come on, let's get on with it. He's really, really in flying form.
Sure is. He's giving the horse every bit of confidence, and he's keeping the horse's eye on those skinny fences, and he's really answering well.
It's interesting, some horses you put under that sort of pressure and they can just back off, but this horse seems to be really enjoying it.
Well, he is a warm blood. He's not a thoroughbred. They like to be made to do things.
Well, galloping away from the water. Just watch that again in slow motion. Really is riding well. He's a really exciting up-and-coming young rider.
Yeah, he's got a good bunch of young horses coming through too, and he's based in Victoria with his girlfriend, who comes from South Australia actually, and also is a great young rider coming through.
Well, at the Pride's Easy Feet Gully, that fence comes up and it's completely blind on them, and on a tired horse that can be quite difficult.
But he's giving the horse every confidence the whole way round, and he's really making sure that the horse is keeping focused even to this very last fence, the welcome home. He's going to go under time. An amazing round.
You know, not much can prepare you for a four-star, considering we've only got one in the country, but you know, he was great, and for him to make time, he's not a fast horse, but he's adjustable. I can just keep going and I can come back, you know, 2 strides out from a jump, pop the jump and go again. So, you know, it's always a nice feeling.
While starting in 10th place after dressage, Emily Gray, and a jocular vision, 12 years old, by Jubilee Bay, owned by Joey Gray and Grant Lukins.
Yeah, this is another young rider. She's from Western Australia, so she comes across the Nullarbor every year for this event. Great girl. And this horse is really starting to come of age as well.
While galloping over the island, just to see how close the crowds are as well. And battling with the trees. Very unique, this event here in Adelaide. Very twisty course, right next to the roads. You can see how close we are to the Wakefield Road, and she's taking the longer route.
Yeah, that was probably a very good decision from her, because the horse jumped very big and not quite on its line over that very big box before the turn onto the double of apexes. And so discretion, better part of valour. She's not going to make time, but she's going to get home safely.
Well, that's what it really matters, and it'll mean an awful lot to this young lady. Punches the air and completes.
Yeah, it was such a good feeling. Last year, unfortunately, it was our first 4-star and we had a fall halfway around, so the feeling of getting around and finishing, it was massive relief to have done the first 4-star together, and I was just so happy.
Tegan Lush starting in 5th with the lovely Tempers Fugit. Been a great campaigner for Tegan.
Yeah, she's come up the ranks from a young rider through on this horse. He was a great young horse off the track with a huge jump, but he's not been the easiest horse to steer around the track, and I think she, again, just wanted to get around the track and not worry too much about the time. She got around, she got through the finish flags, and that's an achievement in itself.
Yeah, one of the slowest riders we've seen of the competitors so far, as we turn our attentions to the full-time vet that is Rowan Luxmore. With bells and whistles. He's a really, really competitive guy, and he's making a good job so far.
He certainly doesn't look like an amateur rider. You know, he's a vet. He spends all his time vetting. He doesn't have a big team of horses, but this is a lovely horse he's brought through right from the start.
Oh, I think he had a problem.
That ditch got in the way again.
Well, very quickly to the longer route. It was 20 penalties there, though. That seems to be the bogey fence 14B.
And again, he jumps the big box fence, decides he's not going to have the balance around that turn to make that very tight double of apexes, gone the long route. Going to take time, but he doesn't want to have another 20 penalties for another run out.
Well, there is last year's winner and a member of our bronze medal winning team at the Rio Olympics. Coming up after the break, we catch up with the Rio Olympians.
The atmosphere here is great. Being in the middle of the capital city of Adelaide is amazing. Get people walking in off the streets from the city. For us as competitors, we can go for a walk across the park at night and catch a meal in the middle of town. People coming for the first time really get to sense the crowds that we don't quite often get in other parts of the country.
Fantastic to catch up with Shane Rose this year, riding Glenorchy South Park, lying in 6th place after the dressage on 59.1.
Yeah, another thoroughbred horse. Shane gets hold of some very good horses off the track. He does a lot of breaking in horses. He does a lot of pre-training race horses. And this is another one of those that's crept its way up through the ranks and now doing its first 4-star. He's keeping its eye on the job. It looks like it's... Whoa, he's showing his experience and the horse's lack of experience at this level, but he got the job done.
That was a good bit of riding from Shane and a real good bit of horsemanship, and the horse really helped him out there as he comes down to what has been one of the problem fences here. It is the Horseland Hollows at 13, 14A and B at Angle Brush. Ooh. Come on.
Another awkward jump over that ditch. They look into that. It's not a very wide ditch. It's not a very impressive ditch. But they look into it. It messes up their stride, then onto that skinny.
Yeah, well, that is 20 penalties. And I think he's also had a run out at the Pride's Easy Feet Gully as well, Jill.
Yeah, that's just showing that little bit of lack of partnership. He's been away, he's been overseas. He hasn't had the time to really develop this horse through the whole season. And that's the trouble. At 4-star level, you really have to have that partnership worked out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and unfortunately it looks like that has been showing here today. Over the time, 21, 22 time penalties for Shane Rose. Well, from one team member at the Rio Olympic Games to another, it is Stuart Tinney riding Warhawk, 4th after dressage on 56.4.
And last year he had a start in the 4-star. He didn't do the dressage test that he really wanted, and he didn't continue on the cross country. But this year, he's taking this lovely young horse around the track, giving it every confidence, not going too fast. We'll see what he does at the ditch. Beautifully over the ditch, but again, didn't quite have his line and didn't quite have him straight. So he's pulling right and going around to the option.
Yeah, it just looked like as he came over the Angle Brush, he had a look in the ditch and then just did a bit of a body screw over the ditch. Let's have a look at that. Did a bit of a body screw over the ditch and didn't really have much of a chance. And that just inexperience on the horse's behalf.
And again, Stuart's been away overseas all year, so just hasn't had the time to really develop that partnership and nail it. But now he comes, done a good job over that. Oh, he jumped over the top of that brush. The very, very highest part of the fence. The horse has got a lot of scope.
Has got a lot of scope. Down to the Thomas Foods International water, big jump in. It's a bold-looking horse, always looking for the next fence, but just doesn't always get there where he wants to.
But he's going to gain a lot of experience by going around this track.
Well, part of that experience is undoubtedly galloping through the ever-growing crowds that are here in Adelaide, the VIP tent just behind you, and you can see how close the crowds are able to get to the action that is the cross-country here on Qantas Cross Country Day. Well, it's been an incredible year for the four boys, and we move from Adelaide and have a look back on Rio 2016.
Australia.
To be honest, getting to an Olympic Games in itself is an achievement, so even just to represent your country and go to the Olympic Games, I think it's a huge thing. So to then be able to go in and actually win a medal as well is just an added bonus.
That is a terrific test, Chris Burton.
I think we're happy with our dressage position. We were fairly confident with our plans, and if everything went well, we were confident we were going to be, competitive on that cross-country day.
Stuart Tinney, Plutomio.
Very experienced combination.
Yeah, it was a really good track, much tougher than it's been in quite a few Olympic Games, and sort of technical, and he had to ride very precisely, and our guys did a great job, and we sort of came right up through that phase. So no, it was very exciting day, that's for sure.
To the last fence, Sam Griffiths for Australia.
Come on, Sam.
He's clear!
Oh, we've got a clear round.
Yeah, the final day, it was an amazing competition to be a part of. We were obviously leading going in, and then things didn't go as well for Stuart as they could have, and dropping out of the medals. And then to get back when Chris was going to be in the lead, and then to drop back to thirds, such small margin.
We are the bronze medalists at the Rio Olympic Games.
Someone said to me, we were unlucky not to win the gold medal and lucky to win the bronze, and that certainly sort of sums up.
Australia.
Well, it's what I aim for all year. All my competitions throughout the year, sort of leading up to get to the 4-star here at Adelaide. The sections I've been to have been so nice, and it's such a clean place. The buildings are really interesting, and the shopping's also really good. It's a really nice place, and I'd really love to come back here without a horse so I can explore everything a bit more. My horse is Clifford. Clifford, he is a thoroughbred that was born in Tasmania. He's really strong in all 3 phases. The biggest thing about Clifford is his heart. He's got a massive heart, and he'll give 100% effort no matter what day, wherever you are. So that always pulls us through.
Well, down to the last 2, and could this girl feature in Tokyo 2020? It is Hazel Shannon, lying in 2nd place after dressage with the lovely 11-year-old Clifford.
Another thoroughbred horse, and she's a great pupil of Heath Ryan and Rosie Ryan's. She's been working with them for 5 years. She got this horse off the track. She's been bringing the horse up slowly with their help. And she went around last year around this track and did a really good job, ended up in the placings last year, but she's just that much better this year. She's faster, she's tighter, and she and the horse's partnership has really developed.
Well, let's watch them through this influential Hawthorne Hollows at fence 13, 14, A and B. He's quite pony-like, isn't he, in the way he goes?
Yeah, he's very workmanlike, very much like in the dressage too. He's not flamboyant, but he gets the job done, he gets his ears pricked, he knows where he has to go, and then he does it.
Well, she's been a very busy lady. She's ridden up to Prix Saint-Georges level in pure dressage as well, and that all helps with the 3 phases in this equine triathlon. You've got to be good in all 3 these days.
And here she comes over this very, very big box fence. You can see how wide the fence is when she jumps it. He gets up in the air. Very good turn onto this double, not wasting any time at all, and very honest through there.
He looks pretty strong as well, Jill, as they come to the Channel 7 logo. Little slip on the landing. Ooh, and just catches it with a front knee as well.
Yeah, she was a little lucky there. She's obviously been told to turn up tight onto every fence because he obviously can, and he's quite cat-like in his jump. But very good in over the water there, and lovely over the boat in the middle, and out over the ducks without any problems at all. And she's not wasting a second.
No, she looks pretty good on the clock as they come up to the tree stumps right at the new part of the course. It's been opened up around the cricket grounds.
Yeah, again, two very narrow tree stumps, and the horse just had his little ears pricked and he knew exactly where he had to go. And coming into this last fence, the welcome home, it's such a great thing to see.
And she's got a tack malfunction as well. Looks like the bridle's broken.
Oh my goodness. The cheek strap's flapping, but look at her time.
1 second over. That's the second fastest of the day.
Oh, it must have been about 3/4 of the way around, so I still had a quarter of the course to go, and the cheek piece of my bridle came unattached from the bit, so there was nothing holding the bit up in one side of his mouth except for the noseband and my reins. And it was very lucky for me that he just kept running, and he probably wasn't that much different than normal like that, so yeah, I was really lucky.
First to go and now last to go. It's Wilhelm Enzinger with his second ride, Britannica MVNZ.
Well, this is his second ride of the day, and so he'll have learnt a lot from his first round. And this horse is not looking as quick across the ground. It's not a thoroughbred horse, and you can see that he's just a little bit heavier in his way of going.
Yeah, he certainly is. Goes a little bit with his head quite high as well, which doesn't always make Will's job as easy as it could be. Former ride of T.S. Jememo, of course, who won here back in 2013 with Chris Burton. Well, just over the optimum time of 11 minutes and 25. 5.6 time penalties sees him rise from 9th place up into 4th. Well, a great day's cross-country action. There is the leader after the cross-country, Hazel Shannon, with the 11-year-old Clifford. She's getting congratulated there, and great to see the welfare of the horse and the camaraderie with the riders. Well, a change in the leaderboard. Hazel Shannon and Clifford 52.5. In second, Will Enzinger, Wenlock Aquifer, and climbing from 7th into 3rd, Andrew Cooper and Evergem Perfection 59.7. Running alongside the Australian International 3-day event was the Horseland Australian CCI 2-Star Championships, won this year by Andrew Barnett from New South Wales with Bradgate Park Dante. Join us after the break for the RM Williams CIC 3-Star highlights.
To come to South Australia, to Adelaide, is something that I've always wanted to do. I've always been intrigued to see what it's like, and so far my expectations have been better than ever. I've had a chance to look around the town, taste some of the food and the wine, and for me it's as good a setup as anywhere in the world. I'm competing here at Adelaide in the 3-Star. I'm riding a friend of mine's horse, Tim Boland's horse. An exciting but very challenging thing to do, getting on a horse and riding at that level on one that you don't know much about, but so far so good. I've dreamt from being a child, you know, that this is what I was going to do, and for my dream to come true and to be able to ride at these top events all over the world is just something that I wouldn't swap for anything.
Well, the first we see in the dressage is Tim Boland and GV Billy Elliott. 44.3 and a beautiful moving horse.
He's a stunning moving horse, isn't he? I can remember judging this horse, and actually he's very good on his changes, and I gave him a 9, and you know, he's one of those horses that can really pull out a good test.
Into the show jumping, Oliver Townend and Napoleon.
And this is a real jumper, this horse. It's a lovely black horse, it's a warm blood horse, and Ollie's giving it every chance to have a clear round.
Super round there from Oliver Townend, only sat on that horse for about 4 times as Tim Boland and GV Billy Elliott. Well, it didn't go to plan at all.
No, started off quite well. The horse is a very good jumper, but he just didn't want to play today.
The hand goes up, and retiring in the show jumping is GV Billy Elliott. Cross-country action. It is Samantha Felton for New Zealand, Ricka Ridge Peekaboo. The first we see at the Channel 7 logo fence and onto the Qantas air hanger. And the difference we see now, Jill, with the difference between the 4-star and the 3-star, much shorter track.
Yeah, you know, this is the short course of eventing, if you like. They do their dressage and their show jumping first. So they did that Friday, and then they finish in the main arena on cross-country day. So she's now finished the whole competition.
10.4 time penalties, so not the quickest of rounds, as former winner of the 4-star here at the Australian International. Megan Jones and Kirby Park Impress start out on their cross-country.
And Megan's had this horse right from the start. She's brought it up quite slowly, but really well. And the horse is really on song today.
54.1 their dressage in 6th place as we move to now the leaders. There's Tim Boland on his feet, about to watch Napoleon go out on cross-country with Great Britain's Oliver Townend. Not had the best of form, it has to be said, this horse over his last 7 international competitive events.
But Ollie is a true international rider. He's ridden many horses around many courses for many years, and he takes the long route here just to make sure of it. And it's not, shall we say, the prettiest, but he's getting the job done, and the horse is reacting to his fairly strong riding. You know, he's making sure that the horse knows exactly where it's supposed to go.
Oliver said he's never kicked, squeezed and pushed as much as he has on this horse across the country. But he's a former 4-star winner, Oliver. He's won Badminton, he's won Burghley, and he's won the recent inaugural running of the Event Rider Masters Series as well. And he's safely home. He has a few time penalties, but he goes to the top of the leaderboard. So, Great Britain's Oliver Townend and Napoleon victorious 58.1 in the RM Williams CIC 3-star. In second, Megan Jones, Kirby Park Impress, 61.9. Within third, New Zealand's Samantha Felton, Ricka Ridge Peekaboo.
Fantastic. It's nice to put up a good result, and as impressed with the performance of the horse and me on the horse hopefully as I am with the result. I've just enjoyed every minute.
Crowds then flock to the main arena for the Thomas Foods International World Cup show jumping. The first round saw Andrew Lamb and CP Argento take the lead following a flawless round. Clint Beresford's Emanville Jitterbug held their nerve and jumped a clear in the second round. With both his horses jumping clear, Jitterbug and SL Donato, he really put the pressure on Andrew Lamb. A few fences down though, dropped Andrew Lamb and CP Argento into 6th, leaving Clint in first with Jitterbug and second with SL Donato. Join us after the break as the 4-star reaches its climax. The final day of the Australian International 3-day event dawned bright and early. It was the TRM final horse inspection. The ground jury members saw all of the horses from the 4-star present and pass. Could Hazel Shannon hold on to her overnight lead into the show jumping?
Well, he's a good show jumper. He can go clear. I just hope it happens today, but we'll just give it our best shot, and whatever happens, happens.
On to the final phase of this equine triathlon. It is the show jumping, and again the crowds were pouring in to watch their stars in action. Shane Rose there walking the course along with Andrew Cooper, Will Enzinger. This course designed by John Vallance, very well-known course designer. The distance around this course, 565 metres with a time allowed of 91 seconds. Andrew Cooper, it is we see first, lying in third place with Evergem Perfection.
Well, this horse was bought as a show jumper, so this should be its best phase. And Andrew is giving the horse a really good ride to start.
Great to see so many people have come to watch the show jumping. Wonderful backdrop of the Adelaide Hills and the city of Adelaide itself. It really is a unique place here.
Shame he had that one fence down in the treble. It's always tough in a treble like that. The horse just lost a little bit of concentration. Jumped huge over that oxer. So he's had the one down, but he really needs to keep the rest up to keep the pressure on. And just touched the pride's fence with his back foot there. He's got to now get back, eyes on the fences.
We have 4 penalties for each rail down, so carrying 8 at the moment. And we're looking for the lowest score.
Beautifully over the oxer. And the last oxer to come, and he jumps that, so only the 2 down, and that will put some pressure on the leaders.
It certainly will, as we now look to Will Enzinger and Wenlock Aquifer starting in second place on 55. Remember the leader on 52.5, so he can't have a fence down, and this not always being the best show jumper.
No, he doesn't jump in a very good shape. He again likes to travel with his head a little bit high. He doesn't use his back so well over the fences, and he doesn't really tuck his front legs up. But it's up to Will to try and make the most of his technique and try and keep him clean.
I think this treble may prove a little bit difficult. First part goes, leaves the second part and the last part, but not the most comfortable. There is our leader. She is looking nervous. She knows now she's got a fence, now 2 fences in hand.
Yeah, the planks. Always the planks. He rattled that, but he's still only got the 2 down. But I bet that Hazel, looking in the background, is feeling a lot of pressure off her.
Yeah, it's disappointing to come into the final phase knowing that you want to keep the pressure on. And another fence goes. So 3 fences down. This has not been the round that he wanted at all. He's not easy in this phase, is he, Jill?
No, he's absolutely not a classical jumper, but he is a good galloping thoroughbred, you know, but it shows that these horses have to be good at all 3 phases. They can't have a weak link.
Well, just the last to jump. And inside the time of 91 seconds, but 3 fences down does mean that he will stay in second place. And that pressure slightly lifted now from Hazel Shannon and the 11-year-old Clifford. She said he's a good show jumper. 52.5 is her starting score.
Yes, and she's keeping him balanced, she's keeping him focused, but she's letting him do the jumping. He certainly doesn't have a lot of flair over his fences, but he doesn't like to touch them either.
Now, we mentioned on the cross-country yesterday, he's quite cat-like in the way he goes. He's very clever with his feet. He almost dances on the ground between the fences and on the takeoff point, which is great to see because he looks full of running.
He certainly does. And coming into this big oxer, she's balancing him and leaving him to do the jumping. Rattles it a touch, but it stays up.
What pressure must she be feeling in here right now? She's a young girl, and to be leading a 4-star must be pretty incredible.
You've just got to keep your mind on the job at hand. You can't think about the crowd, you can't think about the prize money. You just got to keep your eye on the next fence coming and don't look back.
Well, 2 fences to go. She can afford to have both of them down and still win the Australian International title.
Should be feeling pretty damn good by now, I have to say.
Absolutely. Well, she didn't need a single fence. It is a clear round, a lovely clear round. She only added 0.4 to her dressage. That was from the cross-country, but a clear inside the time for the young Hazel Shannon and Clifford.
And what a triathlete he is. Great at all 3 phases. And she's come out of this absolutely the winner.
Well, delighted she is, and delighted with Clifford. It is a win, and a 4-star win for Hazel Shannon. Will Enzinger and Andrew Cooper look on and congratulate her.
Oh, don't cry. Yeah. Fluffy. Thank you. Okay. Well done. It's really nice to have worked so hard and get something out of it. Yeah, and this is what everyone aims for as riders, and it's nice for it to pay off. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just felt a little bit flat today, unfortunately, and he just struggled to keep the momentum and just keep that sort of uphill feeling. So unfortunately, he had ended up having 3 down, but thankfully it actually didn't change anything, which was really, really good. So still finishing in second, so I just could not be happier.
You know, I knew the horse could jump well. Unfortunately, 2 on the floor, but he was great. He tried really hard. He just slightly tapped them, and you know, unfortunate, but stayed in third. So happy with how he finished up.
While receiving the Australian International 3-day event trophy is Hazel Shannon. And what a competition it has been. Clifford 52.5 second, Wilhelm Enzinger, Wenlock Aquifer 67.0, Andrew Cooper in third, Evergen Perfection, with Will Enzinger 2 in the top 4, Britannica MVNZ.
3-day event, Hazel Shannon and Clifford.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed the Australian International 3-day event as much as these 3 have. But from the event director, Gillian Rolton, and myself, goodbye.